Hunter. I don't mean to hinder your investigation, but I can't open this door for anyone who hasn't received Captain Aureus' explicit approval. Not exactly the friendliest bloke, the Captain, is he? Well, your reward for getting your ear chewed off is a waltz through the town's finest magical murder scene. Enjoy.
Source. What happened? Is this a dream?
I don't think so. That stone, somehow it sent us flying into the stars.
Terrible, terrible, terrible! It will consume us all! By the quill that lasts a billion words, what's this? Two Rivalonians here? At the end of space and time? How very, very, very curious. Oh, yes, proper introductions. Zigzags the historian at your service. It is my job to record all that was, and is, and hopefully all that is to be. For how I got here, well, for a historian appointed by the gods themselves, hopping to the end of time is as easy as 1, 2, 3. How you got here, though, that's a rather more interesting question. On such a tiny and rapidly shrinking vestige of space and time, I wouldn't have expected to find a soul but my own shadow. Ah, at last a question I can answer most definitively. I mentioned already that this place is the end of time. If that didn't send your heart into your stomach and your pulse a-flutter, it should have. Time ought naturally to have no end at all. Indeed, I can think of no worse nightmare for a chronicler such as myself. But something totally, utterly terrible has happened. Show, don't tell, I always say. So go, peer through yonder looking lens and feast your soon-to-be terrified eyes on the darkness that is approaching.
It may be quite mad.
Then we had better appease him and have a look through the looking lens.
You saw? Terrifying, isn't... What's this? The portal! It's... The portal has become active! Fantastic! Astounding! Onward we should go! The portal! It's quite sprung to life, just like the long, dormant flames that decorate this observatory. After all my waiting and hoping, could it be? You, dear stranger, you must be the key. Something about your presence here is causing the end of time to grow. The true end itself to move further away. Those torches, alight! This portal active once more! It cannot be coincidence. Goodness me, how right you are. There's so much to take in, I'd nearly forgotten. And what you saw has been haunting my mind since I first discovered it. It is the void itself. The dragon that is devouring creation. When I speak of the end of time, this is exactly what I mean. I can't say for sure where it came from, how or why, but I do know this. It's shrinking our future by the second. And if we don't stop it, it will devour the past and present as well. It's not that I believe, it's that I have seen. Long have I been waiting here, hoping that one day this very portal would ignite. Then, no longer than a few mere moments after you arrive, zap it goes. The chronicler of time knows a pattern when he sees one. Though I cannot say for certain, if it is what I believe, then our prayers might well be answered. In fact, every last question that ever plagues your noggin might well be answered, for I believe what lies beyond this portal is nothing other than... But why spoil the mystery? As soon as we leap through, we'll find out for certain. After you, after you. Oh, what wonders we may find on the other side. You first, but don't dilly-dally. Yes, just as I hoped. There she is, there it is. Come, don't delay.
And he's off.
It seems the imp has spotted exactly who and what he'd hoped to find here.
I have the last chest, the last chest, the last chest! If you believe yourself worthy of rifling through my ample treasures, I do dare you to prove it! Find my 4 sisters, no more than one in each of the realms of your wide world, and each by each, you'll discover how to open me!
Could it be, milady? The weaver of time? Mother of history? Author of all that has ever been?
Indeed, Sir Imp. As surely as you are he who chronicles all that I weave.
Astounding! Unbelievable! I have so many questions for you, so much to ask, so much to say.
You have brought guests, I see. Strange. Very strange guests.
My reaction exactly, milady. It was their arrival here at the end of time that instigated my finding you. But why? Surely you must know.
This is a question better put to our guests themselves. Tell us, how did you arrive upon this plane? If any other being in Rivellon asked me about the details of their comings and goings, I could describe them down to the minutest of details. But you are different. Of you I see nothing. I know nothing. So please, do tell me, how did you arrive here? A stone. So, it was a stone that caused the great shock of energy that brought you here, and it infused you with new life as well. Is that so? Not like this, no. What happened to you is unique in all my work. Never had I experienced something so contrary to my nature. To weave something I had not seen, had not expected. Life does not simply spring into existence, you see. But yours has. You appeared before me from the moment you came into contact with that stone. Starstone. I now know it to be called.
But, Madam Weaver, how is it possible? Do you not see all? Have you not woven all that is and could ever be into your tapestry?
Like the stones, your guests are a mystery to me. I see them before me in this world, but their likenesses appeared not upon my tapestry until they revived the stone. Source Hunters, it would seem that yourselves and Starstone are inextricably linked. Why and how, I cannot say, but I do believe that finding more stones will reveal to me who you yourselves truly are. Starstone is not what it seems, Source Hunter. Its true nature must be part of a greater secret, a secret lost even to me. Do you see what violence my work has suffered? What wounds lay upon the tapestry of time?
Mysteries of all time, gaps in history. Oh, how they've tormented me for eons.
It would appear that Starstone transforms at your touch, granting me new thread by which to mend the tapestry. Thus, it restores time itself.
I see. What the void would shrink, Starstone restores.
Yes. Though I cannot explain why this Starstone is the antidote to the void's ravishment of our realm. If we do not restore time, if we do not discover the true nature of these stones, the void will consume us all. Indeed you must, though I may not yet understand why. It seems that you and you alone can unlock the powers within Starstone. Yet we are not the only entities who know these stones to be so much more than pretty gems.
Why, of course, that's what they were doing. I have recorded their doing.
Without these stones, Hunter, there will be no Rivellon. The entire tapestry will crumble. Even this plane will fall victim to the void's insatiable hunger.
That shall never be, milady. As sure as Zix comes before Zax, we will put a stop to it. First we mend the tapestry, then we stop the void. Please, our most mysterious guest, are you ready? Are you willing? Will you hunt out the stones? Will you help us restore what has been lost?
Not but a moment ago, we were hunting Source in Rivellon, and now we're being told that we alone can prevent the end of time by way of some magical stones. What do you make of it?
I've got something for you if you're up to the challenge.
Still, it's quite a leap from finding a strange stone to placing the world's salvation on our shoulders.
What'll it be, Source Hunter? Do tell.
How welcome you are upon this realm. In the ethereal threads of eternity, do I record the deeds of gods and men, of beasts and spectral apparitions.
What do you think, Source Hunter? What'll it be, Source Hunter? Do tell! What'll it be, Source Hunter? Do tell! So, what do you think, Source Hunter? What'll it be, Source Hunter? Do tell! Come, come! I got something for you if you're up to the challenge.
The drift of continents through changing seas, the rise and fall of empires, the shift of every grain of sand on every beach, the fall of every raindrop on every world, the all but imperceptible touch of lovers' hands. This and all I chronicle without fault. Except, it seems, you. Ask, and I am the weaver of time. I am, but perhaps am I the beginning? And am I? Alas, the answers to those questions still elude me. You and Starstone remain the imperfections upon the tapestry. A hidden answer lies behind this veil of inscrutability, though, for the link between you and the stones reveals that your destinies are intertwined. I believe that Starstones will not lead you to new places of wonder only. No. They will also lead to new knowledge through the restoration of the threads of old. Oh, Hunter, I have no need for company, like I have no need for air or appetite or affection. All I need and all I am is time. And time is running out, unless you remedy its decline.
What'll it be, Source Hunter? Do
And
tell!
yet, I do enjoy your companionship, for you may prove to become the cure that will heal my slipping soul.
Source Hunter.
Quite so. Your absence, it should be an impossibility, but no matter where I look, you cannot be found. I do not know you, which makes you my one perennial imperfection, a blind spot in the eye of time.
Come, come! I got something for you if you're up to the challenge.
But perchance I may be cured of this blindness. Perchance the blemish may be undone, and time can be redeemed.
So, what do you think, Source Hunter?
What it is but a seed bereft of sun and water. What it could be, that is what the Starstones will tell us. What it is but the end. What it could be is the end of ends.
Come, come! I got something for you if you're up to the challenge.
I reside in another realm altogether. But ever since, I think that perhaps you can redeem time, because you create time. Indeed, you have set in motion an event I no longer held possible. Know that no longer I did weave. I sat here, at the end of time, and watched on as the void frays the fabric of time like a terrified god that fears the offspring of his own creations. But suddenly there was you. You who stirred the life within the stones. These stones, children of stars, they place new ribbons along my fingers like phantoms out of time. New threads emerged, and I began to weave anew. Starstone gives me new strands to braid into the tapestry. And because you give Starstone energy, it seems that you are creating time. These Starstones, please, seek them so that time may yet be mended. Please, for the sake of all that lives and all that loves, seek them so that the void may yet devour itself alone.
So, what do you think, Source Hunter? The glint in your gaze and the set of your brow suggest to me that you've not given up on our dear old Rivellon, not just yet. No, with you searching out Starstone, I believe we'll mend the tapestry in no time. We'll find out just who you are and how exactly to send the void back to wherever it came from. But you'll need a way to travel between Rivellon and this homestead, won't you? Who wouldn't want to see what fantastic changes your search will yield? And who knows what the Weaver might discover about you? Luckily, the power of portals is known to you, so I'll let you in on the little secret of how to transport back and forth from the end of time. Just, don't go sharing it around. Never know who we can trust these days. Off you go, then. You've Starstone to find, and I've a tapestry to examine. Surely there must be some clue here as to how on earth you're related to the end of time.
Cross my heart, hope to fade in the void, I honestly don't know. But ask her. If she claims it is so, perhaps she knows why.
Like the imp said to the ballista operator, wouldn't it just? Would that I had a Starstone sightseeing guide, but alas, such a booklet does not exist. Just like yourselves, Starstones are curiously absent from history, both in my writings and on the tapestry of time. From what I can gather, though, they were once cherished by devious sorcerers whose reign ended long ago. The stones are therefore most likely to be found in the ancient places of this world. Ruins, caves, the lairs of long-forgotten evils. Those are the dens you should frequent. 2 more pieces of advice. Don't go unarmed, and consult with my agent. Neither do I, but the mere fact that activated Starstone has set the Weaver of Time weaving again more than implies that it and the Void Dragon are natural enemies. This in turn more than implies that you are the Void's natural enemy, for it is you who is setting new events in motion. You who is handing the Weaver new threads. And that which she is weaving is more than an ornament to decorate the shelter plane. It is both history and future history. It is all of time. We may not understand the how yet, but our aim is clear. We shall save creation from the grip of the void. Now, isn't that a lovely mission? Oh, I don't know if I'm more than those things per se, but having been given a divine mission does have its perks. Old age can't touch me, that's one. Immortality is mine as long as no one skewers me with a sword, and even then I'll be back in a jiffy. But of course I have a price to pay for something that is priceless. It is my duty to record all of history, and an arduous task that is. Not to mention how much stress that void out there is causing me. The end of time. I'll be out of a job. So, gather those starstones so that we may know the history that was lost. Know so that we must not repeat what leads us to this dangerous precipice, but do better and close the dark eye of the void forever. Lonesome, observing the frontier of creation, surfing the vibrant tide of the eons, always approaching yet never reaching shore. Lonesome, being privy to all that has been and all that is. Well, yes, actually. I don't mean to complain, but one certainly doesn't mind a bit of company now and then. Perhaps you can imagine the profound pleasure it is to have made the Weaver's acquaintance after all these years. I can hardly wait to pick her brain about the great battle of the Sons of Sigurd. The last Rivalonian who remembers it died more than 7,000 years ago. Before you go, Source Hunter, a final word. Once you return to Rivalon, there will be someone waiting for you. My agent, my eyes and ears upon your world. I hope he'll be able to help you as much as he can. Time, I need hardly remind you, is of the essence. I wonder if you know more about the void. What it is, what lies at the heart of it.
What lies at its heart? Why, nothing, of course. The great absence of all that even the gods cannot comprehend. It eludes us, like infinity, or the finality of tick-tocking time. How might I serve our mission?
Source Hunters, I welcome you once again to the realm of Rivalon after your travels through the chasms of space. Nice to have found a shelter, wouldn't you agree, where you can come to no harm. I know the imp historian has told you about his agent on Rivalon, and that agent is I. So now that you know of the alliance between me and Sir Zigzags, let us turn to the business at hand. Starstone. And I'll be delighted to give it. Dark webs are being woven around these parts, and it is my firm belief starstones are the flies the sorcerer spiders are trying to catch. It can therefore hardly be a coincidence that Councillor Jake was a collector of the stones we seek. His foul murder and the plight of dying time must somehow be interconnected. That means the task you have been given remains crucial. Find the assassin that did away with Jake, for you're bound to stumble upon Starstone along the way. While you were being lectured by our friend the historian and the grande dame of time, I snuck into his house and had a look around. The advantage of being a cat, you know. You go where you please with impunity. And sometimes the lady of the house even rewards you with a slice of fresh herring. That's where I saw them in a cabinet. Mere slivers, but specks of starstones nonetheless. They lay there, silent and innocent, though bloody murder may have been committed in their name.
Now, where is my pepper? Did it sprout legs and run away?
Don't we all long for a sanctuary? But perhaps I speak only for myself. Not for veterans such as yourselves that by necessity call any patch of ground they rest upon home. Like any cat worth its salt, though, I deeply cherish a secret refuge unbeknownst to anyone. To be able to repose without a care is such a precious circumstance, save it all too seldomly. Let me phrase it like Zigzags might. A universe without time is like a pen without ink. A pointless instrument stripped of the potential of creation. It is void. It is death. It is nothing. I'll not pretend to have all the answers, or that I understand all that is happening here and out there among the stars, but I do know I'd rather err on the side of caution. If Zigzags worries, I worry. We are talking about a creature, after all, that has reclined among the divines as nonchalantly as you and I laze beside the hearths of home. I met him first, a long time ago, out in the wastes of Youthful Gore. He wondered aloud what on earth a cat was doing out there in the scorching desert, then shared what little food and water he had with him. So I told him who I was and showed him my human form. He laughed and marveled and told me stories about his travels. In the end, he even shared his great sorrow with me. The unspeakable thing you saw through his looking lens. I was awed and frightened, but swore to help him in any way I could. As of now, that includes helping the two of you. Oh, before you go, here, take this teleporter pyramid. A handy toy indeed that Zigzags asked me to give to you. You'll need the other one too if you want to make use of its powers, but alas, I seem to have misplaced it. Don't worry though. Use this one here and it'll take you straight to its twin. Now that this matter has been settled, hunters, I shall detain you no longer. But rest assured, I'll do my share of hunting too. So if you spot a white cat during your travels, do stop to say hello.
Back, demon! Back, or I'll... Well, what's this? Oh, Medora, you lummox. 1,000 pardons, comrade. This old bear's edgier than a dodecahedron these days.
Friends, I dare say.
I'll tell you, it sure does me good to set eyes on another of our order. From Academy West, aren't you? Give Captain Wartruce my regards next time you see him. You wouldn't. I trained up in Academy North, after all. We don't cross paths with you Westies all that often, but it's always a pleasure when we do. Medora's the name. Retired, or so the Order keeps trying to tell me, but never out of commission. My hand to your cause and my sword at your side. Heavens hornets! That's quite a story, comrade. And come to think of it, one that might concern you. See, I'm here on... well, let's call it a loan from a town to the north of here. Hunter's Edge by name. There's been an attack there, comrade. Orcs. Not your run-of-the-mill savages either, but ones who've taken dark magic to new heights. I came south seeking the Legion's help, only to find it tied here in Sicil. They don't have a spare soldier to send northward, and even in my finest form, I can't clear the place of that many orcs without backup. By the skin of my teeth, comrade. The savages were rounding up villagers when one of them activated a tripwire on our village wizard's property. Fortunately for me, that particular wizard has a penchant for things that go boom in the night. I managed to wrench free of my captor's grip and flee toward the forest. He pursued me for miles, but I'd lost him before I made it into the Sicil hinterlands. Well, comrade, I hadn't thought of it till you tapped my shoulder just now, but perhaps that's where you come in. I need a contingent I can trust if I'm to take back the town. And the way I see it, you could use reinforcements here in town. I've been scouting Sicil for some time now, and I believe I've sussed out sufficient intel to help solve the murder of the Counselor. With our minds and swords in tandem, we'll make short work of the perpetrator. Well, you know the old expression, 2's a tea party, 3's an invasion. I know this place like the back of my hand by now, and the orcs up north will be short work for a trained-up trio of sauce hunters.
Getting ourselves caught up in an entangling alliance will hinder more than help us.
By the demon's tomb, I never thought I'd live to see a sauce hunter dismiss an eager comrade. That's what they teach you about loyalty at Academy West, is it? Well, you're lucky we Northies have a certain expression. Better to do right the second time than never at all. So...
They say he's privy to ancient and arcane secrets, the likes of which I doubt you could even fathom.
Might need to blow this one open. In the footsteps of the brawler. It's official. The Duke of Ferrol is the worst poet in Rivellon.
In his defense, not much rhymes with murder.
You'll be concerned enough when you realize that reward money won't be lining your pockets.
Ho, my good man. Drink if you please.
Please do, Sheriff.
Let us see if you can choose the finest greens.
What? Oh, it's you. Come closer then. Close. Oh, what? Oh, you mean Cyseal. Very difficult times indeed. As though the death of Jake, and by source magic no less, weren't enough. We're also facing all sorts of brutish intruders. The undead have overrun all but one northern trade route, while the orcs are making a habit of savaging our beaches. That's not to mention that at the top of this whole caboodle, there's rumors of some new religious sect or cult or some such sticking its tendrils into the innocent, seven-fearing folks of Cyseal. And, while we're on the subject of troubles, I myself have a private matter I'd like to bring to your attention. It involves a magic relic I rather foolishly sought. A weapon called the Staff of Pergamon. What of what now? Oh, you're speaking gibberish. Ah, you mean the Staff of Pergamon. Yes, yes. I was expecting a shipment of weapons, and among the cargo was this very powerful, very rare staff. I managed to place the order through means somewhat, atypical to a government official. Cecil proved an old fool, though, for the merchant slated to deliver it to me has just informed me that the damn thing has gone missing. I fear it may have fallen into the wrong hands, and I wonder if you could retrieve it for me. His name is Conrad, captain of the Tide Splitter, a merchant ship still docked at the Cyseal harbor. You can talk to him if you think it'd help, but I'd quite like to avoid getting the Legion involved, if you don't mind. The staff itself contains a shard of an ore, highly valued for its use in the weapons of war. I know use of the material to be forbidden, but I was desperate to do something to aid the townsfolk against the undead. Jake, murdered? Oh, yes. Yes, now I recall. Indeed. I could hardly believe it myself. The Council and I have certainly had our differences over the years, but old squabbles evaporate under such circumstances. Most of the townsfolk are certain Jake's wife Esmeralda is responsible. In fact, the Legion have taken her into protective custody to keep her safe from the mob. As you can imagine, I've known Esmeralda for years. That business between her and the Duke of Ferrol was always a bit suggestive. But I've never had cause to suspect her of violence. Still, one never knows for sure. An all-right bloke, apart from all this Esmeralda nonsense. The whole town knows the only goal of his business trips to Cyseal is to spend a night or two at the King Crab Inn with Mrs. Counselor. What? The undead? Yes, for the past 2 years those blasted skeletons have all but suffocated this city. With all but one trade route overrun, Cyseal's once torrential commerce has slowed to a pathetic trickle. Well, I do believe that's something your parents ought to have discussed with you long ago, Source Hunter. But I suppose if you really don't know, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least explain the basics. Ah, you see, when a lady and a fellow find each other rather nice, well, rather more than nice, they occasionally, well, they Oh, this is nonsense. I'm the mayor for the 7th sake. I can't be bothered to chat all day about the birds and the bees when Sicil's under siege by orcs, undead, and cultists. That depends. What kind of berries are you interested in, exactly? Ah, the library. Yes, yes, you must have a visit. It's the gem of Sicil. Would you like to have a look? I'll escort you upstairs myself. Please yourself. Let me know if you change your mind. You won't regret it.
You can choose the finest dream. Lonesome, spiritless, perhaps wrestling an earth elemental.
So tell me, Septimus, would your wife or sweetheart be compensated by the Legion should tragedy befall you on the battlefield?
I suppose so, lady. But seeing that I'm neither married, engaged, or attached in any way, I've never bothered to inquire.
Polite, handsome, and single. Don't go anywhere tonight, Legionnaire. I'd be afraid alone in the dark. Lords above, grant me patience. You're a source hunter, aren't you? Here because you think I killed my husband. How many times do I need to state and restate my complete innocence in the matter? I am Esmeralda, wife of Jake, and now, alas, his widow. Poor man. We were both so young when we married. He so rich and I so poor. But his one and only princess just the same. Like I told just about every legionnaire in town, I don't know anything about poor Jake's murder. I want his killer found and tried, but everyone suspects me of this evil deed. And you're no different, are you? So what happened? Some of them tittle-tattling crab chasers down the pub call me a murderous gold digger and you believe them? These insinuations truly go beyond the pale. Oh, I think I'm getting one of my headaches. Oh, don't put stock in the hastily scribbled words of a lovelorn fool. This letter, it was a show of passion. A poorly worded passion I did not echo in the least. The Duke, he's like a spoiled child. He's not a man. He's not like Septimus. Starstone? I've never heard of such a thing. Dear Jake had a mineral collection, yes. As far as I knew, it was one of his pastimes, nothing more. Do you mean to imply he collected something dangerous? Something that may have gotten him into trouble? Oh, this is all too much. I feel like I'm drifting from nightmare into nightmare. Well, what do you want to know?
She seems to be quite adamant about her innocence.
We'll need to look for evidence if we want to prove she actually did the evil deed.
We've secured the perimeter. Red and orange, yellow and green, the finest shade
Baking like a cake.
Looks like that dog is awfully agitated.
Perhaps he wants to tell us something.
Hey, wow! I was wondering where that awesome sweaty boot smell was coming from. And here you are. Wow! This is great! I'm Murphy, Jake's dog. Wow, you smell great! Have you been rolling around on dead things all day? That's my favourite hobby too. You know who I miss? Jake. Sometimes he'd just sit there being awesome. And I'd give him this look like, you smell great. And he'd give me this look like, you do too, Murphy. And he was my best friend. I came here so I could smell Jake again. He smelled great. But whatever's buried there doesn't smell like Jake at all. No, it's definitely not Jake. He was awesome. If I ever find out who killed Jake, the most awesome Jake who ever jaked, I'll bark so much! Seriously, so much, you have no idea.
Rest in peace, darling.
Jake, where are you? Are you here, Jake? Jake!
What trickery is this? That's not Jake.
It's a rotting sheep's corpse. It seems someone snatched Jake's body.
Jake, where are you? Are you here, Jake? Jake! Wow, that dead sheep smells pretty great. I mean, wow. But it's nothing compared to Jake. Someone stole Jake? Jake stole my ball once, but then he threw it far, and I went and I got it. And Jake was awesome. Listen, if you go around town and find someone who you think might have done it, bring me a really stinky something of theirs. And I'll see if I can smell Jake on it. An awesome smell. I couldn't mistake it. Join you? No way. I mean, you smell pretty great. Even better than the dumpster behind the butcher's house. But the town is full of scary stuff like body snatchers and bathtubs. Without my best friend, the most awesome Jake ever, here to protect me, I'd rather stay far away. Just bring those smelly items to me here. Oh!
Made a 7.
Striking it rich! Looks like the mortician is rather suspicious about Jake.
What could Mayor Cecil, Captain Aureus, or Evelyn have to do with it?
So, what's the bad news? More orcs rampaging through the docks? Or have those infernal statues sent another soul flying to his death? Sad story, that. Though if I'm speaking plainly, the sentimental aspect of it all doesn't make much of an impression on an undertaker. Especially not these days, with so many laid low by the orcs and such like. I just concern myself with giving the remains a respectable exit from life. We set him to rest in the northern graveyard. Perhaps he can finally get a little peace. How do you... Ah, the ledger, is it? Fool was I to leave it in the open. Or perhaps I even looked forward to being found out. Well, as you know, I have my suspects in the matter. What would you like to know? Plenty of us shopkeepers entrust the mayor with the spare keys to our businesses, you know. And he's the only person in town with a second copy of the key to the mortuary. He could have used it to sidle in without a peep, if he were so inclined. Aureus himself paid me a visit the night the body was delivered. Came rapping at my door in the frosty morning before the sun had even started peeping, and told me to tell him, and only him, if I noticed anything strange or suspicious about the remains. Can't see why he'd bothered to go through all that trouble, unless he knew something the rest of us don't. I know it sounds strange suspecting the doctor's apprentice of something so ghoulish as this, but there's few in this city could manage to transport a corpse without raising eyebrows. It was she who delivered Jake's body from the inn to the mortuary, and there was something about her that night, some kind of excitement. Seemed she could barely contain her thoughts, that there was something thrilling about to happen. I can't quite settle it in my mind how a young medical professional would have such a strange reaction to an occasion such as that. And this may or may not have anything to do with the whole rigmarole. But her master, Dr. Theleron, bought an old shack of mine, one overtaken by undead, for an exorbitant price considering what he was getting. I never did figure what he wanted it for, but he sure seemed eager. I never saw a widow less distraught at the death of her husband, and I've seen hundreds pass through my parlor. It was she who rang my bell just before the body was snatched, lured me outside claiming she needed air, before discussing the funeral arrangements. Some accomplice could have sneaked in and grabbed the remains while I was comforting the oh-so-overcome Esmeralda. That gold's the only good thing to come out of this blasted affair, and I certainly plan on making some use of it. That old bag's as fat as a heifer. She won't miss that sheep for a moment, and she sure as hell won't starve over it. So, what's the bad news? Ask 1,000 times if you like. I'd rather risk a flight to the north than hand over this fortune.
mood for cheese. No excuses, more holes than a slice of this fine Gorman there.
What do you think you're doing? My, what a strong and handsome officer you are, kind Septimus. You must have fought many a battle, am I right? In fact, I bet you're a real war hero.
Oh, I'm no hero, Esmeralda. I'm just doing my duty, for the Legion.
Well, you certainly are my hero. The rock upon which I may rest my weary soul in these trying
Sigurd's beard, what a find!
Potions to bemuscle you, scrolls to entussle
A book about setting up the perfect crime.
Esmeralda has interesting taste in literature.
But don't you worry. Legionnaires are highly trained soldiers who feel neither rock nor deep.
Oh, but what if you were to be ambushed, caught unawares? Oh, catch me, for I might faint. So tell me, Septimus, would your wife or sweetheart be compensated by the Legion should tragedy befall you on the battlefield?
woman. What was her name? Candice?
Maybe the lock can be jimmied. Ah, so that's what that did.
Esmeralda's a funny character. She's always got ham on the brain. I've never been inside her secret room, but I bet it's full of hams too. I'd go in and see if I were tall enough to reach the button. Say!
Everything we do seems to fortify your abilities. There's no experience to be won from pestering me with vapid flattery.
A bloody dagger? Could this have been involved in the crime?
It certainly piques one's interest, doesn't it?
It is said, and this I have heard from a ghost who knew Elba.
She'll realise soon enough that at a little party.
So, which of you would excuse me? This is a private sick room. Who in the name of the Seven do you think you are barging in here? Out, I say, right this instant. Oh, I'm sorry. It's this task. I'm just... Who am I to meddle with life and death this way? I'm an apprentice of the healing arts. Healing! But this decision feels like precisely the opposite. I have but one healing stone, you see, and 2 direly wounded men who need it. I've been racking my brain trying to decide on the best method to settle this grave situation, but perhaps it's better off in the hands of an esteemed source hunter. Surely you are more accustomed to weighing life and death than I. What would you like to know? One of the brave few willing to traverse the trade routes plagued by the undead. A young man, but excellent in matters of business, before he fell victim to an orcish club in the north, that is. Thankfully for him, a cattle trader found him, nearly dead, but not quite so, and brought him here straight away. Quite the venerable staple of Sicile, Stephen, and recently blessed with his 3rd grandchild. He was leading a crew of builders when a stray beam struck him in the temple, and only a few days shy of his last day of work before retirement, no less. Nearly everyone in Sicile is familiar with grinning Stephen, and, as you can imagine, he's quite dear to his family. Yes, a curious relic indeed. I got it from a kindly abbot, Loic by name, in the northern town of Silver Glen. He is of a certain faith, the Immaculates, they call themselves, that espouses the belief that certain stones can heal wounded flesh. I myself was nothing if not skeptical of his claims, but something happened as he handed me the stone. A small cut on my finger instantly healed, leaving no trace of the wound. Needless to say, I was astounded. But it's strange. The stone is only good for a single use at a time before it reverts to a useless, inert state. It takes time to regain its magical properties, and I guard it cautiously. You are? Ah, I thank you a million times for your help. Who have you decided should receive the healing stone? Yes, Boris deserves to experience all the pleasures of life that Stephen has already enjoyed. Boris it is? Yes, I'll deliver the stone. I'm glad we'll get to save one man, but my heart breaks for the other.
Thank
No,
the seven.
no, this is highly abnormal. What is this? This lightning?
A tone.
Sorry,
The
friend.
corpse's
I wish there were enough
Thank you.
stone.
Thank you eternally for your help. Though your reaction to the healing stone, I have no idea what to make of it.
But I'm beyond grateful. I feel no pleasure in bidding you farewell, friend.
That's enough of that now!
I feel no pleasure in bidding you farewell, friend. I don't know what I did to deserve this. I'm beyond grateful. I feel no pleasure in bidding you farewell, friend. I don't know what I did to deserve this, but I'm beyond grateful. I don't know what I did.
I'm fading. Fuck.
I feel no pleasure in bidding you farewell.
No better solution to the zombie problem than a set of silver arrows.
I feel better already.
Feed a big cheese on your block with a wheel of the good stuff.
Quiet day on the market, it seems.
Let us see if you can choose the finest green.
I feel no pleasure in bidding you farewell, friend. Sorry, friend. I wish there were enough stones for both of us. I feel no pleasure in bidding you farewell, friend. I feel no pleasure in bidding you farewell, friend.
Too much wormwood.
Fading fast.
A tone, soothing a corpse's troubled mind. far.
Sorry, friend. I wish there were enough stones for both of us.
I feel no pleasure in bidding you farewell, friend. I feel no pleasure in bidding you farewell, friend.
Things got pretty hairy there for a bit. Back on my feet again. Ha! As if I need your help to survive. A lion has no need of a lamb. I could do with a cold drink.
You don't think it's effective, do you?
Come on now, I pulled her off you before she could do any real damage.
Any real damage? Are you joking?
I but say, Source Hunter. Do you reckon the vendor's got an... She may have the look. We got report. I tapped her.
Bit tough.
Enjoy it while you can, Ver. There's not another legionnaire.
Well,
That's a mighty big if. We can't have one of our team wandering off into the wilds when we need her to be watching our backs.
Can't say I'm surprised. You wouldn't want an untamed thing like that sleeping next to you at night. Now it's for us to decide what to do with her.
If I've got my say, we'll take her into the woods and put her down. Say, Source Hunter, do you reckon the vendor's got any luck? Their daughter remains silent, but stands.
This woman here, but soon there's...
Say, Source Hunter.
Well, that's to be...
Sorry, sir.
Let's not be too rash. A fearless hunter might prove quite useful for our investigation.
Can't say I'm surprised. You wouldn't want an untamed...
If I've got my say, we'll take her into the woods and put her down. She may have the look of a woman. We got reports of a strange looking outside. I tapped her. Enjoy it while you... Say, Source Hunter.
Well, that...
After all, a fearless hunter might prove quite...
Well, that's a relief, ain't it? We found a good home for her after all, Tull.
Heed me, Source Hunter. She's not good for anything more than cannon fodder. And don't turn your back on her when she's got that bow within arm's reach.
You say you will take me under your wing, but I see no feathers. Are you a child of the birds, as I am of the bears? In truth, this is a relief. Your world is made with rules I have not yet memorized. I am happy to have a friend in such a place. And so the lonely babe was fed upon the wild mother's milk, and cast aside from humankind, he thrived among his mother's ilk. So the wise godwolf Amira raised the child Threes among her litter. So you see, I have good company. Threes the wolfson, and I the bear daughter.
Sorry, sir.
Ask freely, my friend. Your city is far more wild than Home Forest. In Home Forest, the rules are clear. In Home Forest, your strength and speed determine your fate. Here, a tiny screech woman, no swifter than a mudworm, might confine you into a tiny cage, and one must wait for a kind stranger to grant freedom. Jarrett, wise Jarrett, taught me the bird songs of our people. If not for him, I would never have learned more than the beasts could teach me. A beast's life is to survive. A human's is to know. I have learned all the bird song that Jarrett could teach. I remembered every word. These tales have brought me much pleasure.
The remembering of the beasts is without lies. We know not to approach the wasp's nest because long ago one bear mother discovered its dangers. This she taught to her cubs, and those cubs taught the next. We do not remember Rito and the battle of the buzzing brutes. We remember only what is useful to us now. Rito will be forgotten. The beauty of the story will be forgotten. But the lesson will not. It is different between beasts and humans. I am lucky to enjoy both ways. He came to me when I was small. A fierce, wild one, yet unaware of the difference between the other cubs and herself. He called to me in a soft song. At first I thought him a great bird. We each reached out to the other. We found each other. Jarrett visited me often. And in time I learned his songs and more. When he built a small cabin within Home Forest, I hunted his food and fetched his water by day while he studied his books and his magics. By night, by the fire, he'd tell me tales of the world of people. Jarrett is my master and my friend, my teacher and myself. He teaches me and I care for him. I heard this was a place of many people, so here I came. I have seen more faces here in a day than I had seen in all the days of my life together. But I have not found the face I seek. Jarrett is missing. It is my duty to find him.
Sorry, sir.
That mystery is thick and ugly as a swarm of hornets. It started with a great disturbance in Home Forest. A terrible disease came in the night and turned the birds and beasts soft and foul as carrion while they still lived. I watched countless of my loved ones die, rotted from the inside. When I ran to Jarrett to tell him what I had seen, his reaction was strange. He had no answer.
No, sir.
The next morning, Jarrett did not emerge from his room. I left him be. But after 3 days, I grew anxious. I broke down the door, and inside his chamber was nothing. His equipment, his books, all but some scraps of parchment were gone. He was kidnapped, and all his research was taken with him. The only clue I found was a letter among the scraps. I could not make out all the words, but I recognized the threat. Death, coming for you. And the signature? Attenborough. I do not know the one called Attenborough, but I know that if I am to find Jarrett, I must start there. Whoever this Attenborough may be, I believe he or she may know where Jarrett has been taken.
Shot! About face!
Source Hunter. I have heard tales both grand and terrible about the world of humans. I myself was caged one moment and freed the next by our kind. In Home Forest, every creature acts according to the nature of its kind. Birds frighten easily, badgers fear little. But amongst men, there are no guarantees.
That was sloppier than Sicilian stew. Again!
It is strange to stand with one foot in the forest and the other in the city, Source Hunter. I am glad that now I have you standing beside me, even if one burns hot while the other wheezes cold. Perhaps in time I will come to know my own kind as you have, and perhaps then I will decide for myself whether ours is a noble kind.
Those brutes are embarrassed at Rick's troll. Get to shining recruits.
Sorry, sir.
Attention! About face! To the barracks! Notch! Recruits! That was sloppier than Sicilian stew. Again!
Ah, the Source Hunter. Oh, joyous hour. Oh, still not finished with that sorry matter? It was stolen? Gods, what a fool that Roberts is! Taking a bribe in beleaguered old Sicil. Ah, what was he going to do with that gold? Buy the largest kipper in the land? He has a lot to answer for, but not as much as the one that did the bribing in the first place. Guess your mission is pretty clear, isn't it? Off you go to find this munificent body snatcher. Evelyn? Master Theriron's apprentice? Nice lass, huh? Brewed me a potion once that cured me of a rash more bothersome than a badger down your breeches. No, she doesn't seem like the type to play hide-and-seek with stiffs to me. You dare stand here and accuse me of involvement in this sordid affair? You dare accuse a captain of the Legion? Get out! Out! Before I have my men erect a gallows and string up a sauced pinata! You, again, what about it? Well, have you found any incriminating evidence against her? If so, let's have it. So, you found a blooded knife in Esmeralda's cellar. Guess you can scratch the top candidate off your list of cliched clues, then. Not exactly enough to arrest her for, is it? How to plan the perfect murder. Really? Really? She might as well wear a dress with the words, "I killed Jake and I liked it," embroidered on it. But that alone wouldn't suffice to convince me. So convince me, Hunter, and keep looking. The knife, the book, the letter, they seem harmless enough by themselves, but in conjunction they do paint a pretty grim picture. Fine then. If you're certain she did it, then I shall have Esmeralda arrested. Your responsibility, Source Hunter. Whom would you have the Legion arrest?
Agreed. What does it matter if this evidence is weak? Everyone in town knows Esmeralda is guilty.
I remain skeptical, but the evidence brought before me is too damning to neglect, even if it was gathered by an amateur inspector. Have it your way. She'll be placed under arrest before the hour is out. But even then, the rather flimsy proof you have gathered will hardly go a long way to convict her. A confession is needed. Once she's behind bars, see to it that she admits her crime.
Nuts! Recruits! That was sloppier than Sicilian stew. Again!
I just did you.
Did someone leave an oven door open?
Thank the seven, we secured the perimeter. Red and orange, yellow and green, the finest veggies Sicil's ever seen. I could dear to you.
So you're just hanging
On
around
the men.
again, are you? Waiting for what? I'll tell you. Hunter's greetings. So, have you changed your mind about venturing forth, shield to shield, against the Sauce Menace? Well, you know the...
Another source hunter on the team will make us all the more formidable against this wicked magic.
That's the spirit. Listen closely now. Do you hear it? That's the sound.
Watch out.
I smell... Oh, the fierce stench of fried
Heavenly
source
herring,
goblin.
delicious dogfish.
Actually, I think that's
Yours
only
for
roast
a
pig.
scrap of gold leaf.
Well, what sort of arrows do you want? Freezing? Silver? Poison? Get to the point.
Ah, gracious patron, I see your tired eyes looking a bit teary. I've just the potion for that. Or would you prefer a toasty fire spell to dry those vapours?
Join the Spud Club if you've got an eye for farm potatoes.
Sheep's cheese, tomatoes.
Tall of snake, ring of worm. That's the 7 we secured.
Esmeralda. Now, I am here by order of Captain Aureus to arrest you for the murder of your husband, Jay. Please follow me, for I must escort you to prison.
What? This is preposterous! A travesty of justice! I am innocent!
I am not here to judge, only to execute my orders. Please don't make a fuss, so I won't be forced to shackle you.
Very well. I shall accompany you peacefully. But know, sir, that you are leading a guiltless woman into darkness and destitution. Gods forgive you this trespass.
Perimeter.
Sorry, sir. That's it, troops. Train up while you can. The next order will land at any moment.
Begone, you beast! You have bereft me of my freedom despite my innocence. I have been routed by a rat, and now I must dwell among more.
Perhaps it is you who should explain your presence in my cellar. And the dagger? It's simply a butcher knife used by my late husband to cut meat. He did so love to cook, the dear. What'll you think of next? Accusing me of bashing him over the head with a frying pan? Oh, that horrid tome of ill repute. It isn't mine, it was Jake's. He was a politician, don't you see? Always on the lookout for plotting rivals. Always trying to be one step ahead. Really, I should have thought a source hunter of all people would appreciate my dear husband's sense for survival. But all of it is circumstantial. I've a perfectly logical explanation for every piece of so-called evidence against me. And yet you've seen to it I was locked in this dreadful dungeon. People seem to want to believe I am guilty. So let me tell you something I've been keeping to myself. Perhaps it may yet lead to the true culprit. Over the last few months, Jake grew distant. Distant and dark, somehow. Something in him changed. I can't quite put my finger on it, but he was no longer the gentle man he used to be. In fact, he scared me. It all began the day he met Evelyn, Master Theliron's apprentice. She healed him of what we all believed to be a fatal wound he suffered hunting boars. I think he became obsessed by her, or obsessed by the secrets I just know she holds. Talk to this woman. There is more to her than meets the eye. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if she belongs to that sect, you know? To those who worship a goddess without name and practice rituals of blood. I never liked her from the moment I met her. Men cannot see past her beauty, but I have gazed her in the eye and it was death that leered back at me. She hails from Silverglen, a village in the forest north of Siseu. How she made it past the undead without a Legion escort, I'll never know. Though I can hazard an eerie guess. If anyone killed my Jake, it must be her. She had her claws in him for many long months, and finally she must have cut too deeply. It isn't, you rat! You put me here, now get me out of here! Evelyn is the guilty party, not I!
You think that's funny, Private?
Sir, no, sir.
Careful, comrades. I've seen sorcerers and fools, even lowly fowl, with dark enchantments.
Nonsense, venerable one. Those are only chickens. And plump, juicy ones at that.
Join the Stud Club if you've got an eye for farm potatoes.
That's enough of that now. Hey, stop that!
The seven brought
Soothing a
abundance.
corpse's troubled mind. Can't have gotten far. Now, that tone, soothing a corpse's troubled mind, can't have gotten far.
Aaron has as many friends as the man with many cheeses.
I was really hoping to find something better.
So she's got a lair on the beach, does she?
Perhaps that's where she stashed Jake's body.
if you've got an eye for farm potatoes.
Dancing dugongs, you nearly startled me out of my boots.
Oh, come, darling, don't dither. You must speak with Mendius and join the Fabulous Five immediately. I so long for us to realize our true potential, side by side, spirit by spirit.
Already refused to join, but darling, didn't you... how can we... refused? Oh, a plague on both our houses. For now we may never link our destinies. Away from me now, oh perfect specimen. Torment me no further. But if you happen to meet more able-bodied, agile-minded adventurers, don't hesitate to, send them my way. A woman can only mourn for so long. My only one. Come now, Alistair. I'm sure you...
Aaron has as many friends as the man with many cheeses.
The hunters? Ah, you have come. Yes, that is most satisfactory. Begone, brittle mask of age. Hear me now repeat the words of Brittletooth, the child snatcher of Carador. Come, play with me, for I'm hungry. Come, play, play, play. The game, yes! A game of blood and brutality, of death and dexterity. Fun as herring the horror harlequin. But, like the serpentine stalker hisses before the stab, hush now. Darkness, darling. Hush, hush, and listen to my tale. The elves of Gandavon, they lived in peace. Oh, yes. But one night, when the moon had hid her face, the orcs of the tribe of Kazuldagar beset our city. They cooked and ate and burned every last one of us. The light of dawn never saw an elf of Gandavon no more. All undone. Every last one of us. Except for me, the midnight rambler, away from the city. I was very old back then already, though indeed I whisper of many years hence. But death shall not find me. Oh no, not until every beast of Kazuldagar has been bled. I may be frail, a withered grey, but the wealth of kings is mine. Countless assassins have ministered to the vengeance that is my want, and now is almost over. By Kala, Lady of the Last Gaze, I swear it is almost done. Only the very last one of the Kazaldagar still eludes me. The crowning kill that would seal its fate and mine alike. I have tracked her down. By the curse of the spine spear I have. She does not know her ill-shapen son is setting fast. Color the dusk red, O sword of youth. Bloody the day with the bramble sap that runs through the veins of Victoria. Bring me the amulet that clings to her flesh, soon to fade. And yours shall be the bounty of vindication. Mine shall be its sanguine satisfaction after long, long last. Yes, Victoria. She is the one whose heart must be held in hand, the heart around which the fingers of that hand must clench and tighten until its choking flesh bulges with blood and its beat slowly breaks. The orcs of Gazuldagar, they knew my name. Oh yes, by the bite of the roving rattler, they knew my design. And so they sought to save their last, an infant, she who was to be queen. To no avail, oh no. Years, how many I know not. Years I searched, and now she has been found. Her name is that of a woman, her employment that of a civilized being. But by the fork of Barbara Man-Eater, she is nothing but an orc, a cyst of nature, one of a misbegotten litter dragged into life from the tumoured womb of a filthy, coarse-haired beast. Victoria.
That was quite the radical change we witnessed. I never would have thought that the benign old man we met outside would turn out to be a vengeance-driven aficionado of assassins. She may not be guilty, but she'd have committed the same crimes had she grown up among her own kind. It's inevitable.
Lesser key of Sadakandras.
The knight in see-through armor.
Is there no new book
Princess
to be
Batik,
discovered
in the
in
name
this
of Amun-Hor, I bid thee Tujda Geta Hal, be welcome, human. My library is yours, as I hope your friendship is mine.
The lesser key of Sadakandras. Ugh, what nonsense. Is there no new book to be discovered in
Kira
this
Lidzor. Oh, do pardon my language, my friend. But that is quite the startling revelation. So much sadness, so much anguish. Eglandir's tale is heartrending, though it seems that in the pursuit of retribution, he has himself become as great a ghoul as those that wronged him.
This library?
Does he not see that I am now the one who is to be wronged? Why, oh why must he make me, of all gentle-minded and life-loving creatures, why must he make me the target of his imperishable hate? Whom have I ever harmed? I live for books, not brutality. So, let us approach the situation with reason and ask ourselves, where do we go from here? Though, first let me say this. Hashizm bil kushum zunum. From my heart, I thank you for warning me. I thank you and I trust you. So pray, let me pose the question. What do you advise we should do? My amulet? But it is Haxmagi, a sacred token that houses the presence of my ancestors. No, I cannot part with my talisman, the keepsake of my soul.
No, this isn't the grimoire I'm looking for. The Encyclopedia Demonium. I know it by heart.
When you put it like that, I guess I cannot say that it is. I do this very reluctantly, but fine. Have my talisman. May it fool...
The Encyclopedia Demonium. I know it by heart.
Here I wait for thee. Yes? Yes? Have you?
Yes. So it is. So it is. By Angus, the Impaler's favourite steak, you done well by me. Oh, Ravager of Gazaldagar, the last of their line is dead. The House of Gandavon has been avenged. Sweet flowing blood. The quest of decay is at an end. My wealth is yours. My life is death's. By the hollow sockets of the Voidwood Eye Gouger, I bid thee thanks and fond farewell.
Tell me, Alistair, have you ever had the fortune of challenging
Watch the undead quiver in their mouldy boots.
Oh, sauce hunters, eh? All right, proper, we're fine again. If you've got a favourite sheep, best to fry her up now before she gets thieved in the night like me dear plump Ogget, the finest in me herd. Oh, Ogget, you're rotten to the bone. Oh, me poor, sweet, plump girl. You've been wasted entirely. All that roast, all the mutton, not even the sausage grinder will want her now. Give her here, will you? Me little mouldering darling. That louse! Did he even bother grilling a single luscious chop? I bet he wasted every last morsel. Captain Aureus will have a thing or two to say about this.
Let us see if you can choose the finest greens.
Watch the undead quiver in their mouldy boots.
Heavenly herring! Delicious dogfish! Yours for a scrap of gold each!
One day, Moira. One day you'll...
Potent heat.
Let's keep it that way. Good luck out there, Hunter. Evil lurks beyond Syseal's ramparts.
Die, vermin!
Overheating here. The scheme.
In this death.
Seven, have mercy on your soul.